Welcome in Pirates Nation to episode 10 of Pirates Weekly. We are back in studio. Leverett Ball, myself, Oliver Nissi, and Pirates owner, president, general manager, among other things, Jawad Yatim. Thank you for coming on this edition of Pirates Weekly. How's it feel to be on the show?
And it feels great. I definitely appreciate you guys having me. I'm always down to talk Pirates football, so let's do it.
But yeah, we'll get right into it. I'll start with my first question, and that is, the Pirates. You're the founder. You made this whole thing possible, where we're sitting here today. So, why don't you, if you may, why don't you tell us the story of how it all got started, the idea?
Yeah. So this, there was really two parts to it. The first part was shedding a positive light on the game of football itself. I know there was a patch there where people were kind of bad mouthing football in a way. Is it too dangerous? All the concussion talk. Am I going to let my kids play? All this and that, and it kind of hurt. As I'm sure it did for millions of other people. Just because we all know how important the game is to us, and everyone had their own personal experience with the game, and it really kind of molded us into who we are today. So we wanted to just be a positive influence, shed a positive light on the game itself. And show people, how great the game could be and what it can do for an individual in the community and whatnot. So that was just one part of it. The other part was just, providing another entertainment option for the people, of the Bay State of New England. We wanted to, provide a good competitive team, that people are going to want to come out and watch. Growing up in this area, hockey has a big presence. Basketball has a big presence. It's a pretty diverse scene when it comes to sports. So, we just wanted to be a very competitive, team that we bring to the area and that people can enjoy watching. That's essentially what it was.
Yeah, and you certainly have been extremely competitive in the first two seasons. Two playoff appearances. And when you're talking about how hockey is big here in basketball, we know about the Patriots, we know about the Red Sox. Some of the players I've talked to that you've signed, they've said that the Pirates attracted them because this state has such a winning culture.
The last thing you want to be around here is a loser, because you'll stick out like a sore thumb. Every team is essentially competitive here, so that's the last thing you want to do, and we know that. Obviously, being from here, growing up, here. It's just ingrained in you. So, we expect to be competitors year in, year out. That's the goal, and that'll never change. So.
Yeah, well, in regards to this upcoming season, there's always excitement heading into the start of a new football season. I'm sure that was the case not only working with the Pirates, but when you played as well. There's that anticipation, at the end of the offseason, heading into the season. It's always very exciting, but heading into this season, not only is it the first season for the Pirates in the IFL, but we're coming off of a very weird year. During 2020 with the pandemic and everything, lots of sports being canceled. The Pirates had to take a season off.
Yeah.
Like I said, there's always excitement heading into a new season, but you say there's even more excitement heading into this season, considering that it's a new league and that the team's had such a long off season.
Yeah. Every team is ready to go. I can tell you that much. I think everyone's just been waiting on that time we can get back to doing what we're doing. For a time there, I felt like we were just an apparel store. I didn't really feel like much of a football team, but we're starting to get back to that point where we're focusing a little more on the field and all that, which is always exciting. You always focus on it, but if you're when you're involved on both sides of the fence. Certain seasons and times of the year, you kind of heavily emphasize one side, while you don't completely ignore the other side, but, there's kind of a shift of balance there throughout the year. So now we're kind of, getting, a little closer into the execution part of the season and just, the planning phases of all of it. So, a lot of the off season you're planning, during the season you're executing from a business standpoint, from a football standpoint and whatnot. We're starting to get to that, which is exciting on our end. And we're starting to kind of sense, that the season's getting there, and we couldn't be any more excited.
Yeah, and that comes with your role of the team. As the team owner, you oversee everything from the off season as we're getting close to the in season. I want to transition now. Since you sat down, I've noticed the pin on your hat, the IFL. So why don't we talk about the IFL for a little bit?
Yeah.
Why don't you take us through, the Pirates in the first 2 seasons, they were in the NAL, entering their third season on the field. Now we're in a new league, the IFL. What attracted you to join the new league?
Just how established it is, how well run it is. Todd Tryon, the commissioner, is unbelievable at his job. It's been a thrill working with him and the rest of our partners. We got a great group. We just got back from league meetings last week, and it was my first opportunity to sit down and meet everybody. And they're awesome people. We got a good chemistry there as a group, and we might not agree on everything, but we bounce ideas off each other. Everyone's willing to listen, and hear you out and everything. So, and then the business division is what really separates our league from any other. They're doing an unbelievable job. I know Dave and Steve, that they head our business department there for the league. They're working hard, just building different opportunities for the league itself. Whether it be on television, digitally, from a sponsorship standpoint. They're just grinding, getting after it. So this league is really headed in the right direction. I can say that. I can't provide details on what we discussed or what's coming up and whatnot, but I do know there's a lot of exciting things, and we do have some nice announcements here, coming up soon. So we certainly made the right decision here, coming to the IFL, and I think we jumped on board at the right time, and go IFL.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. And building off what Oliver asked you about the IFL, I felt for a while that there's been a need in the United States, in the world of football, for another league. In football, they don't have a minor league system the way they do in, affiliated minor league system the way they do in Major League Baseball or the National Hockey League. We have seen other professional football leagues, in the U.S. below the NFL that haven't worked out, like the AAF. They didn't even make it through a full season. The XFL has been in and out of business. The AFL was popular in the world of indoor football for a while, but then they went downhill. And there's always been that desire, I think, from the giant fan base in the world of football for another professional football league and for a league that plays during the NFL offseason. And you mentioned, you think the Pirates made the right decision moving to the IFL. You guys obviously made that decision for a reason. You believed in the league. Could you see the IFL really being the next big thing in football and really being the primary league in the United States other than the NFL?
Yeah, I would certainly say that's a goal from a league standpoint. Mm-hmm. There'll always be leagues that are coming and going. Mm-hmm. And, when a league starts up, you obviously don't root against it. It's just more jobs for the players, more job opportunities for people in the industry. So you always appreciate, when new leagues come about and everything like that. So, but just speaking on speaking on ourselves and speaking on our situation, I definitely think the IFL, will continue to grow and continue to be a strong product, in regards to, football below the NFL. And like you mentioned, there are no minor league affiliations or anything like that. And I think when people don't necessarily realize that. I think when they may look at other sports and see that so-and-so is affiliated with so-and-so, mm-hmm. they might think it's a little more legit and the product's a little better and whatnot. Just because we're not affiliated with any NFL teams doesn't mean we don't have a great product. We do. And I say this all the time, no disrespect to any other organizations in the area, no disrespect to anybody, but what the Mass Pirates trot out on game day, I'll put that up against any team outside of the Big Four in New England, hands down. That's not even a question in my mind. So that's not, not disrespecting anybody, nothing like that. That's how much confidence and that's how much I believe in my product. And I think that's certainly true. So, but yeah, the IFL, like I mentioned, it's certainly growing. And, with the XFL coming back, that'll be extremely entertaining, and like I mentioned, that's just more job opportunities for our guys, and so we're certainly rooting for that. You obviously got the CFL and whatnot. But yeah, I think an important thing about it all is just, that there's a correct balance and with budgeting and, I don't know if I'm wording it right, but the product on the field, I think some other leagues have tried to, maybe invest a little too much into the product when the product might have demanded, enough of a return to keep it, compatible for a long time. So, I think it's just finding that correct balance. I think the IFL has it, which is why it's been around for as long as it has. And, it's not going anywhere. So yeah, I mean, I don't know. I forgot what the question you asked me, but yeah, the IFL is definitely growing, and we're happy to be a part of it. So
it's a good answer. Talking football with Pirates owner, president, and general manager Jawad Yatim. I got one more question for you in the IFL. You alluded to before, you're a former player. You played for 3 IFL teams before you hung up the cleats. We know the teams that we will be playing, the other IFL teams that the Pirates will be playing. Do you have a location where on the road that you're most looking forward to traveling to and playing?
I mean, I'm just excited to play again. I think every market, every team presents its own challenges, and we're always excited to face those challenges. Teams that come to mind off the bat, I can't wait to play Spokane in them.
It's a popular choice.
Yeah, it's I have fun with Sam Adams, their owner, just kind of going back and forth, and we pick on each other and talk a little smack here and there. So, definitely Spokane, I would say, would be one of them. Arizona, I definitely look forward to playing Arizona. Kevin Guy is just, a legend, absolute legend in this thing. So, anytime you get to compete against, and that's what those are type of teams, organizations, people you want to compete against. You want to compete against the best, because it brings the best out of you. So that'll be exciting. And his team in Tucson, which is going to be an unbelievable team as well. I say Frisco, being able to go down to Dallas in that area. That'll be fun, and just kind of, checking out the new markets that we've never been to before. We're going to new places, playing new teams, seeing new cities. Experiencing new things. So that'll be exciting. But I mean, every away game, Green Bay, Iowa, Bismarck. We're excited to play everybody and anybody, and it'll be a fun ride.
Yeah, and sticking real quick with Spokane, you signed JD Griggs from the Spokane Empire, playing in the same city, so it'll be a homecoming for him, but it will also be a rematch of the last time the Pirates were on the field in 2019, the playoff game against the Cobras. They got the quarterback, Charles McCollum, and the head coach, Billy Back, up there. So what's that going to be like?
Yeah, I mean, it's, a lot of the Cobras had made their way on over to Spokane. So it's a very similar team to the one we played, especially from a vet standpoint. A lot of their vets are the same guys we had seen already. I know they added some new faces in there as well that we haven't played against before, but yeah, it should be exciting. It's we hasn't always been the best, best feelings towards each other. I truthfully, on the field I can't stand them. Off the field they're all great people. On the field I can't stand them, so definitely looking forward to playing them for sure.
Yeah, I mean, I've heard some players call it Carolina West. So it's like Carolina kind of, I mean, we left the NAL, the Cobras still exist, but playing another form of the Cobras up there. Pirates Nation perhaps is waiting for, we want to talk about who's on the Pirates, the players, the coaches. Why don't we start at the top with head coach Patrick Pass? What's it like having him at the helm?
Well, Pat is just, he's awesome to work with, getting this thing started a couple years ago. I'd always rely on him, ask him different questions, try to pick his brain, obviously. Yeah, I mean, anytime you're surrounded by guys who have done it at the highest level, competed at the highest level and succeeded at that level, you try to pick their brains, you just try and learn as much as you can from them. So, with Pat, definitely lean on him for advice and just kind of wanted some guidance, as we went through our first couple seasons and gradually got more involved and wanted him to take that next step this year. So I know he's excited. I know the players are excited to play for him. I know the other coaches are excited to coach for him, and I think he'll get the best out of our organization. Definitely.
Yeah, and we talked a little bit off camera. And I've heard you talk in the past about how you want Pirates players to be able to advance to the NFL level eventually, and obviously Coach Pass, like you referenced, him playing at the highest level. He was a Super Bowl champion with the Patriots. Got to spend some time with guys that Pirates fans may have heard of, like Bill Belichick and Tom Brady. But with the experience,
That's a shot.
Yeah, but with the experience that he has, how helpful do you think he can be as someone who's gotten to that level, and played with legends, as a mentor to try and get some of the Pirates players to that level as well?
Yeah, I think he'll know what it takes to get there, and he'll know what it takes to stick around. It's one thing to get an opportunity. It's another thing to really get a job and stick around for a little while. And that's something he's obviously familiar with. So, he'll be able to assist our players in that sense. But I think it's simple for our guys: come in, play well, and stay out of trouble, and you give yourself an opportunity. There's really not much more to it. If you're not producing on the field, it doesn't matter what questions you ask anybody. It all starts with being able to produce on the field and put some good film together, and the rest will take care of itself. But unless you're doing that, then the questions you have and all that don't really matter. You got to produce on the field, and it's pretty simple from that standpoint. So
one thing I want to hit on that you told me maybe like a month ago or so is that, and it's stuck in my head, and you've said it in press releases when you sign players as well, is you believe the game is won at the line of scrimmage, and the positional group that you've signed the most is the offensive line. You just signed your 8th offensive lineman in Marquise Lucas. So maybe talk about the offensive line, the defensive line, how you feel about those positional groups heading into the season.
It's just so important, in my opinion. Certainly translates into success, from an offensive standpoint. So that's why we place such a heavy emphasis on it. Yeah, from a defensive line standpoint, obviously you want to be able to, rush the passer, be disruptive back there, keep the offense at 3rd and long situations, don't let them get ahead of the chains, allow them to move the ball easily, essentially. Our goal, we want to be able to make teams one-dimensional, especially in the red zone, which is why we added, which is why we have the length that we do, in the secondary. We want to make, those holes in the red zone a lot tighter, especially when you got those long arms, especially when the end zone's as small as it is in our league. So, but yeah, we want to be, as disruptive and as physical as we can be on defense. I'm excited to see what Coach Kaiser can do with our guys. But yeah, to me, the game, starts at the line of scrimmage, and if you can control the line of scrimmage all game, you have a good chance of winning, in my opinion. So, we're excited with the guys that we have in those position groups, and we'll see how it works out.
Well, and also, you talk about what the team needs to do in order to be successful, but kind of going back to what we talked about earlier with the move to the IFL, obviously both the NAL, the Pirates' previous league, and the IFL, your new league, they're both indoor leagues, but the style of play is slightly different. What are some of the biggest differences between the style of play from the NAL to the IFL?
Well, the biggest difference is that the jack linebacker can go wherever he wants, which is obviously different from the NAL. Both linebackers, essentially, they couldn't drop any deeper than 6 yards, and they couldn't, only the jack could go sideline to sideline. The Mac has to stay in the tackle box, and that's the same in the IFL. But, when the jack can drop, like he can in this game, that's one less in the box. That's one less defender playing the run at times, and that, opens up more space for the run game, obviously. So, that's a big part of it. And then you got 2 guys in high motion as opposed to 1. So, obviously you're putting a little more pressure on the secondary, when you got 2 high motion guys. But yeah, I'd say those are the 2 most glaring differences, in both games.
Yeah, I want to talk about the secondary real quick. We talked about the offensive line, defensive line. The secondary, what stands out is that you have 5 players in total signed so far, and 3 of them have NFL experience. 2 of them were drafted in the NFL, in Khalid Wooten and Harlan Miller. Alois Jean played with the Bears. But then you got Arian Maxey Penton, who was a smaller guy, but was first team All SEC. And then you have Santos Ramirez, who played at the University of Arkansas, and he's a big hitter from what I've seen on some game film. And Ramirez and Penson, they're also very Maxi Penn, they're also very humble. So maybe they didn't have NFL experience yet, but they're two guys that certainly want to get there. I mean, from the looks of it on paper, I really like how the secondary is looking. Would you agree?
Oh yeah, I definitely do. I think Arian's going to be. I've been talking to Arian for the past couple years, and we could finally get him on board this year. So, he's extremely motivated. He's been working extremely hard from what I've seen, and I think he'll be a big part of our defense this year. I like everyone in our secondary. We really focused on the character of our guys this year. And just trying to form build a nice chemistry within our group, within our organization, and we want to do that quickly. Because obviously we've got a lot of new pieces. We're in a new league. So we want to build some continuity, as quickly as we can, get that chemistry going as quickly as we can, and let it carry us, throughout the season. But yeah, we got a nice secondary. I mean, I like all those guys. I mean, Khalid Wooten is obviously, the vet of the group. He's one of my favorite players that we've had come through here. He's a great kid. And then Al's been with us for a year. He battled some injuries in 2019. But when that kid's healthy, he's special as well, obviously. So and then Harlan is Harlan's obviously impressive. I think he might come in and be one of our smartest defensive backs. You can kind of just tell on film, how cerebral he is. He reads the quarterback pretty well. He understands what the offense is trying to run, and I think he recognizes concepts pretty quickly. I think he, from a mental standpoint, he'll be as good as anyone that we have. But at the same time, they got to come in and do it. All this is just talk now, but we all got to do it. So it'll be nice to see the guys come in and compete, and we'll see where it goes from there.
I mean, we've talked a lot about the roster, and you're obviously the one who handles the free agent signings. And while there are a number of guys on the Pirates who haven't played in the NFL are looking to get to that level, you've also sometimes gotten former NFL players in and brought them to Massachusetts. You signed Marshall Spate, former Redskins linebacker, this offseason, brought him out of retirement a while back. You brought in former Chiefs receiver and kick returner Dexter McCluster. How does that whole process work when you're getting former NFL guys and guys who maybe haven't been playing football at all in a while? I know you talked in the Now or Never documentary about how sometimes you've even gotten in touch with them just by DMing them on Instagram, but how does that whole process work, and how have you been able to pull off some of those big signings?
A lot of it has to do with, their love for the game, and their desire to play the game. I just reached out to them at the right time. They're looking for a place to play. They want to continue to play. They just love the game. And, we provided them an opportunity to do that. From a free agent standpoint, every player, has his strengths and his weaknesses. And for me, I just, try to get, I try to put together the best players that I possibly can. Your first list is really just, I just go through different transaction lists, from different leagues and whatnot. And then so you have your list of guys that you're interested in. That list gets broken down into, guys that you actually have contact information for, or guys that you can reach out to via social media, Instagram, whatever it may be. Then you reach out to them, and then that list gets broken down into guys that, reach back out to you and respond. Because not everyone responds. It's like cold calling for ticket sales and stuff like that. You reach out to a bunch of guys, only a certain percentage will get back to you, and then, from there, you prioritize, you break down that list even more, and you begin to prioritize the guys that, you've been in contact with, you've spoken to, and, you start to form, smaller lists of, what position do they play, how am I going to prioritize them, who do I like more, who's kind of behind on the list there, whatnot. You start off with one list and you end up with a bunch of them, and they all get broken down. And you're just constantly looking at different transactional lists. Like, right now, just looking at the CFL transactions every day. Just old XFL rosters, old AAF rosters, obviously IFL rosters, NFL undrafted free agents, probably, 6th, 7th round draft picks from the last, 2, 3 years or whatnot, and yeah, so it's really just identifying who you want, identifying if they're even a free agent at the time, reaching out to them. Do they reach back out to you? And how interested am I in them? And then attack it from there. And then you're not always going to get your favorite guy at each position, but I do feel good with the guys we've brought in, and we'll continue to bring in, and I think our fans will enjoy watching them as well.
Yeah, it sounds like a lot of work. It reminds me of like if you go like on cars.com and you're filtering through like all like the different, you want a Honda, you want a green color Honda, you want a good in the snow.
Nice thing is that cars.com will do that for you.
Yeah,
like this.
You got to do all that work.
You literally have to, and it's a lot of film and it's a lot of reaching out, and we're doing research but it's fun. It's fun. That was one of the main reasons why we started this. Why I started this organization was because it's a big passion of mine. That is one of the parts that I really do enjoy the most. I enjoy the whole process, but being able to, put my team together, you put your team together, let's play, and I want to kick. That's the goal there. I just love being able to put a team together and compete against yours. Plain and simple.
Yeah.
And so that's the most enjoyable part for me. So it's a lot of work, but it's also fun at the same time. So I enjoy it.
I got one more question for you about the players, and then we'll start to wrap up this edition of Pirates Weekly. Jawad Yatim, Pirates owner, president, general manager, joining Pirates insiders Oliver Nissi, Leverett Ball. Leverett's also the sideline reporter at home games this upcoming season. Jawad, so I've talked about in this episode, this is going to be the third season on the field for the Pirates. If you were to think of one word to describe this roster compared to the other two seasons, what would you say?
That's a tough one because, they're not here. I haven't, until they really get here, until they hit the field, you really don't, you have a great idea of what you have, but at the same time, like I mentioned, they got to do it. They still got to do it. We still got to do it. I still got to do it. The coach still got to do it. Players still got to do it. Our interns still have to do it. So, it's tough to say right now just because, until we get really going, until they're out there running around, making plays and competing, it's hard for me to say what I really have. Right off the bat,
I think I might I'm gonna hold you to that question. Maybe as we get further along, when the season gets going, maybe you won't have an answer for me then, but maybe halfway through the season, I'm going to be looking forward to what you got to say.
Oh, I got you now.
All right.
I'm definitely thinking that once we get going, yeah, for sure.
So also, I wanted to ask you about the team name. Yeah. Obviously the Pirates are popular here in Worcester, but you also have fans from Springfield and Boston and all over the state. You specifically are called the Massachusetts Pirates, and it's kind of similar to our local NFL team here, the Patriots. They play in Foxborough, but they are the New England Patriots, not the Foxborough Patriots.
Yep.
They embrace the entire region, and so how important is it for the Pirates organization to be the Massachusetts Pirates and embrace the entire state and have fans all over the state?
Yeah, I mean, there's certain parts to that question. I'd say the lack of the product being in the region has a lot to do with it too. If there was a team in Boston, a team in Springfield, we wouldn't call ourselves Massachusetts Pirates. We'd probably be a little more specific to the exact city that we're in. I mean, the Patriots are the only team in New England, so they can claim New England. So if there were a couple other teams in New England, they'd probably focus a little more on Massachusetts. I don't know. I can't speak for them, but it makes sense. But yeah, us being the only team in Massachusetts, when we first started, we had the main team, so that kind of took New England out of the question a little bit. And we understand that our fan base might not reach Vermont, and Maine and whatnot. We do have a nice fan base and Connecticut, Rhode Island's definitely growing. New Hampshire as well. We want to do well for all of New England, just not just Massachusetts. But yeah, I mean the fact that we are the only team in Massachusetts, it made the decision a little easier. We didn't really want to restrict ourselves to one city because we didn't need to. We got all the land that we kind of want around here at least, and kind of doing a little market studying and whatnot. The Mass Marauders back in the day. They were pretty successful in that one year that they had. So, we kind of followed suit there. With the Massachusetts team. As far as Pirates go, we didn't want to. Essentially do what kind of every other team around here does. Which is obviously great and it makes complete sense. But we weren't going to go after the the war themed, old colonial, type themes and whatnot. We wanted to kind of be a little different, but still relevant, to the area as well. So obviously, not obviously, I didn't know until I looked it up, but I mean, there were pirates in Massachusetts, pirates in New England. Obviously, us being right on the water, right, having the Atlantic right there. I mean, yeah, I mean, pirates were pretty prevalent around here back in the day. There is a pirates museum, I believe in Salem, so there is some history with pirates here. It's not as common. It's not too much. It's not talked about too much, but yeah, we did see the relevance there. It was different, so we went with it. Yeah, we like it.
Yeah, it's a cool name. It's a cool name for sure, and you got a cool mascot to go along with that as well, Arthur the Pirate. So Jawad, on Pirates social media accounts, we have a thing on Friday called Front Office Friday. It's when a front office member steps in front of the camera. Some are a little bashful, but we get them to do it.
Yep.
And one of the
I'm seeing them.
yeah, a question that we've asked all the front office members is, "What's your favorite Pirates memory?" And some of them haven't been here that long, but you've been here the entire time. So, what is your favorite Pirates memory?
I would say it's a little different from what people might think. But my favorite Pirates memory, I can't remember the game. It was the first year, and I mean really, since we've been around, it's kind of started to grow. But we have a heave ho chant. Where one side of the arena was chant heave, the other one's chant ho, and when you sit there and you kind of look out into the stands, look out, because this is all about building a culture, all about building a fan base, all about trying to build your brand, and to see people enthusiastic, enough to the point where they're chanting, and we're building that culture, we're building that fan base. That was the most exciting moment for me. It's happened a lot. I mean, it's I can't pinpoint one game, but just hearing the fans, chant heave and oh, and seeing it get louder. I mean, just seeing people buy into the product, buy into the brand is the most exciting thing for me. It's just when you're out there and you see how enthusiastic the fans are and how excited they get for something that you put together. I mean, that's just a cool feeling. So, we definitely plan on seeing it grow more and hearing more chants in the future. But that's definitely my favorite.
Yeah, it's that home field advantage that you're creating. It's getting stronger as the years go on. And speaking of home field advantage, I want to wrap it up with this. The Super Bowl is this Sunday.
Yep.
First time ever a team is playing in their home stadium in the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. You and I both, Leverett as well. We've been watching Tom Brady forever. Who do you have in the Super Bowl this weekend?
Obviously, I'm a huge Tom Brady fan. Huge Tom Brady fan, huge Gronk fan. Obviously appreciate everything they've done, for this area. Really just putting the Patriots really on the map. From when they started. I mean, obviously we all know what they've done and everything, how important they've been in the area. And saying that though, I'm going with the Chiefs. I mean, it's tough to consistently stop that offense from scoring, and they really put a lot of pressure on the other team's offense to keep up. Tampa's defense has been playing a lot better as of late, and that's obviously important, especially when the playoffs come around. But Pat Mahomes with those weapons and that offense, and their defense has been playing, better too in the playoffs as well. So, when you can see a team that can just turn it off and turn it on like that, there's something special. I mean, not every team can just be like, all right, guys, let's go, and then all of a sudden they're clicking, they're scoring, and they might be down, but they're back in the lead now. Like, look at what they did last year, So, I mean, they have that ability. So, I mean, even if they do start behind, I think they have the ability to come back.
Yep.
I think the toughest thing with them is when they get a lead, it's hard to come back on them because, I mean, you got to really, really rely on stops, as the game goes, and it's tough to stop that offense. Even if they don't score, they'll pick up first downs, they'll kill the clock, so yeah, I'm going to go with the Chiefs. I have no idea what the score is, but yeah, I'm going to go with them.
Well, Jawad Yatim, thank you so much for coming on the 10th episode of Pirates Weekly.
It's 10 already, huh?
10, yeah.
10.
2.5 months.
All right.
It's flying by, which means the season's coming up real soon.
Yeah.
Leverett and I are extremely excited. We hope, we know you are too, because we just know. So, Jawad, thank you again for coming on. Leverett, myself, Pirates Weekly, Pirates Nation, thank you for watching. We'll see you next week.